Bring in presidential historian Allan Lichtman now to talk more about the debate. Allan, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So talk to us, your initial thoughts. We'll start there and let the conversation proceed. What do you think? What's your takeaway?
Irrelevant. I made my prediction based on my keys to the White House, which, unlike the polls, which are snapshots and abused as predict, and unlike the pundits who have no scientific basis for their opinions, my keys to the White House tap into the structure of how American presidential elections really work as votes up or down on the strength and performance of the White House party. That's why I virtually stood alone in 2016 against Nate Silver and all the pollsters, all of the pundits, in predicting that Donald Trump would win, which you can imagine did not make me very popular in 90% plus Democratic Washington, D.C., where I teach at American University, but my predictions are purely nonpartisan. I deliberately issued my prediction that Kamala Harris will become the first woman president of the United States, cracking, if not breaking, the glass ceiling, and the first president of African and East Asian mixed descent, foreshadowing where the country's going. We're almost minority. I deliberately issued that before the debate because I wanted to make the point that it's governance, not campaigning, that counts, and my predictions do not vary depending on the day-to-day events of the campaign.
And you said your predictions, you correctly predicted 9 of the last 10 presidents. As you referenced, you also referenced some of those keys. And I know that that's very specific language for you. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, the keys, as I said, tap into the strength and performance of the White House party. They are things like midterm election results, incumbency, party brawls or contests for the incumbent nomination, third parties, short and long-term economy, policy change, social unrest, scandal, foreign/military successes and failures, and only 2 keys have anything to do with the candidates, and they're very high threshold keys, asking whether the candidates are those once-in-a-generation, broadly inspirational, transformational candidates like Franklin Roosevelt on the Democratic side and Ronald Reagan on the Republican side. There have only been half a dozen or so of them in more than 120 years since 1900.
Allan, I know there's the argument, though, that the economy is doing well, but people are employed, but you have inflation and just completely outpacing wage growth, which we didn't have before and haven't had like that in a very long time in this country. Do you think that plays like a spoiler to one of your keys, the fact that maybe the economy, the numbers show it's okay, though you could even dispute that, but the fact that we have this record inflation, the people, they're really not that well off?
Legitimate argument. I've heard it many times. And if you want to base your prediction on inflation or job growth or real wages, I encourage you to do so. Develop your own prediction system. Of course, those who are advocating that don't have a system and don't have a track record. But if you're going to use my system, you've got to stick to how I've defined the keys. And my definition and calling on the keys retrospectively goes all the way back to the horse and buggy days of politics, the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860, and prospectively since I predicted Ronald Reagan's reelection in April 1982, nearly 3 years ahead of time during the worst recession then since the Great Depression, when his approval ratings were in the low 40% range. And clearly, my definition on the short-term economy is purely quantitative. There is no recession in the election year. I don't call recessions. The National Bureau of Economic Research does. No recession on the horizon.
Okay, Allan Lichtman, sir, thanks for coming on. You have an excellent track record of predicting this stuff.
You do, and again, you're predicting Kamala Harris is going to win. All right,
Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate it, Allan. Thank you so much.